crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. All right, want to talk a little about silver again today. Yes, it is important. When I talk about 1-to-1 gold to silver ratio, when I talk about $20,000 or $50,000 per ounce silver type of moves, that is when the end of manipulation happens. That cannot happen. It cannot happen with the COMEX and the LBMA being open. Those would have to close. Those two criminal institutions would have to close. The COMEX being a futures and options rigging platform for price, and the LBMA being the supposedly the physical arm, but it's obviously not physical because they have close to 100 billion ounces trading every year, which is ridiculous. I mean, there hasn't even been 100 billion ounces mined in the history of humanity mining silver. So the fraud continues, but I want to kind of take a step back and show you that it is not illegal for the U.S. government to rig the gold and silver markets. You might think, well, Bix, of course it's illegal to rig the markets. No, the government has the legal authority to rig the gold and silver markets, and that was given to them in 1934 with the Gold Reserve Act. And the Gold Reserve Act, many of you might not remember, but have learned that that's where the U.S. government confiscated all the gold in the United States. People keep thinking, the citizens didn't really have much gold at all. And people who did have gold, it was in the $20 round coins that they just kept. They didn't give back to their bank. What the Roosevelt administration did do was take all the Federal Reserve gold and put it under their own blanket. And then they devalued it. All kinds of things went on. They were able to do this because they have so much gold. They had so much gold in the Grand Canyon, and it was about controlling the amount of gold out there. And there's the guys that signed it right here. These are the guys they knew. Every single one of these knew there was billions of ounces of gold in the Grand Canyon. Remember, back in 1934, I don't have the number. In the early 1900s, it was only 120, 130 million ounces of gold in circulation in the U.S. In the world, I think it was 300 million. And they found billions and billions of ounces in the Grand Canyon. So this is a big deal, and it was very secret. And these are the guys who decided in 1934 to confiscate the gold. But why I'm bringing this up now is that under Section 10, listen to what Section 10 of the Gold Reserve Act of 1934 says. Section 10 of the Act established a stabilization fund of $2 billion under the control of the U.S. Treasury. These funds came from the profits the government earned when it raised the price of gold. So out of thin air, basically. The Treasury could use the Exchange Stabilization Fund, the ESF, to buy or sell gold, foreign currencies, financial securities, and other instruments, including silver, in order to control the dollar's value and to conduct open market operations without the assistance or approval of the Federal Reserve. So the Exchange Stabilization Fund is a separate entity from the Fed. I believe it is controlled by the U.S. Treasury. So the Fed cannot rig the prices, but the U.S. Treasury can. The Treasury could also use the Exchange Stabilization Fund to transfer funds clandestinely to neutral nations and international allies. This tool proved useful during World War II. It is amazing. That section right there has not been rescinded or revoked or anything. The Gold Reserve Act of 1934 created the Exchange Stabilization Fund, which is a fund within the United States Treasury Department that has the legal authority to rig any market it wants at any time for any reason. And they use that to rig the gold and silver markets. Now, at times, they use the bullion banks, not always, because there's a trading floor at the basement of the U.S. Treasury building. But at times they use the bullion banks, and the bullion banks front run, of course, any government moves, and that's why you see the Treasury secretaries are always ex-Goldman Sachs, ex-JP Morgan, all that stuff. They collude together to control the value of gold and silver, to thus control the value of unbacked fiat money. It's a con, and that con is breaking down. I think the plug will be pulled very soon, but it is legal for the U.S. government, through the Exchange Stabilization Fund, to rig the price of silver and gold. It is not legal for JP Morgan to do it on his own account. And that's what the problem they got into, JP Morgan did. And here's the suit. Of course, this was when Trump was president. This is from the DOJ website, and it tells you exactly when they were rigging the price. According to admissions and court documents, between approximately March 2008 and August 2017, numerous traders and sales personnel on JP Morgan's precious metals desk located in London, New York, and Singapore engaged in a scheme to defraud in connection with the purchase of and sale of gold and silver, platinum, and palladium. So there you go. And they were traded on the New York Mercantile Exchange and the Commodity Exchange, which are commodities exchanges operated by the CME Group. Now, these groups, these exchanges are self-regulating, believe it or not. So they are regulating themselves, which is ridiculous. But also, the next level of regulation is the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve is also regulating the banks in these trading operations. And then, obviously, the DOJ can and will, under the control of the U.S. president, can pull the plug on this anytime they want it. Trump had the balls to do it, although really nothing came of it. Nothing came of it because it wasn't the real operation. This was the side gig. This was the little guy just front running transactions. It's not the big mother of all operations. Let me show you JP Morgan. So 2008 to 2016, right in here, 2008, that's when JP Morgan took over Bear Stearns. Bear Stearns had a massive problem with silver. As you could tell, it had jumped from $12 to $20, and they were losing their ass. This is the silver hot potato. JP Morgan, when JP Morgan took over, they instantly slammed the price down with naked shorting. Bart Chilton admitted this, a CFTC commissioner, admitted that JP Morgan did that, and they told them not to, but they kept that short position going. And then it went all the way, they held that short position trying to control the price of silver all the way till January of 2011. In January of 2011, Jamie Dimon put the head of his SWAT team, that's what they called it, guy named Bill Daley, to be Barack Obama's chief of staff. And that happened in January 2011, and then pretty much within the next couple months, silver had its big mother of all runs up to $50, and then was slammed down again. This was an artificial spike out of the manipulation run by JP Morgan and friends to create an artificial bear market. Again, JP Morgan got long, ran the price up, and then shorted all into the high 30s, into the 40s, up to $50. And then they slammed it down again with high-frequency trading, and spoofing was part of it, but not a big part of it. A lot of it was collusion with other banks as well, and probably the Exchange Stabilization Fund gave them cover. But what they didn't give them cover for is during this whole time that they slammed down the price of silver between 2011 and 2016, they were loading up on physical silver. Ted Butler has all the documentation needed, and he comes up to over 1.2 billion ounces of physical silver. Remember, it was the Hunt brothers only had about 110 million ounces of physical silver, and the DOJ came in and busted them. It's all who you sleep with in this world. And if you look here, look at the volumes. Look at the volumes of silver traded back and forth. This is the LBMA. The volumes are crazy. 350 million ounces are transferred every day. Transferred. The silver market is just not that big. It's just a fraud is the problem. So, and then I want to point out, look at from 2008 to 2016, this is the amount of U.S. Silver Eagles sold. Now, this is back when the U.S. Mint was still only charging a buck or two more over spot price to buy Silver Eagles. This is when J.P. Morgan was loading up as an authorized distributor. They didn't sell any, they just bought it all for their own account. And just look at those. I calculate the volumes to be about 350 million Silver Eagles that the J.P. Morgan Chase took delivery of as they were suppressing the price of silver. That's a lot of frickin' Silver Eagles. Now, Ted believes that they melted them down and made them into the silver COMEX bars. I don't think so. First of all, it's illegal to do that. Not that they care about the laws, but, there's other ways to get silver and melt it down. Why not just buy all the rounds? Why buy Silver Eagles? So J.P. Morgan may have these, 350 million Silver Eagles, knowing that at some point we might be going back to a gold and silver standard de facto with no deciders. I mean, if the monetary system breaks apart, that's the only thing we have that's on the books is gold and silver used as money. I do think that's where we're going. I'm going to talk to Jenny Moonstone about that today through the Road to Ruta documents. By the way, if you don't know what these are, here's something really cool. This is the original Wishes and Rainbows article written in 1980. 1980, and it basically gives the outline of what the Road to Ruta story is. And the story is a land of no color all of a sudden finds color in the canyons of, they call them cobblestone canyon. It's the Grand Canyon, and it's gold. There's a golden light that gives all these colors power and all this stuff. It is an allegory to the gold and silver standard, mainly the gold standard. I have long said that silver might not be used as money. It may be way too valuable, but at the same time, I think it will be. I think it will just be valued appropriately. So, gold eagles will be valued at 2,000-3,000 U.S. Federal Reserve notes each off the bat, and then silver eagles will be valued at the same 1-to-1 valuation. We'll see if the COMEX and the LBMA shut down, which are the only two exchanges on the planet that deal in silver. Now there's a Hong Kong Shanghai exchange, but that's only gold. They do some silver derivatives, but the gold exchange, the Hong Kong exchange, only deals in gold. So there is no other exchange on the planet, and the bankers they require that. Wait till Putin comes out and say, you know what, we're going to stop buying gold. We're going to just buy silver. Screw it. We're done with the United States. We're going to buy physical silver and take delivery and bring it into Russia. Talk about bombs flying when that shit happens. But we do have China. China just Swiss exports gold to China at 5.5-year high. Those of you that don't know, here's the latest holdings of governments around the world. First of all, this is the official gold holdings. First of all, everybody lies, including the United States. The United States supposedly has the most gold, 8,133 tons, which is a tiny amount of gold, truthfully. Germany has little less than half of that, 3,355. And then Italy, 2,000. These are tons of gold. France, 2,400 tons. Russia, 2,200 tons. And China claims they only have 1,948 tons. Now add another 80 tons that they just imported last month. We've talked a lot on the road to going back 20 years how China has been taking off 2,000 to 3,000 tons out of the market on a yearly basis. So my guess would be China has, I don't know, officially 100,000 tons. And I know it doesn't make sense to a lot of people that there's so much more gold than they tell you. But yeah, China's not going to tell you how much gold they have, nor is the United States of America. Now, I do believe that the United States officially holds 8,133 tons. I also believe that a lot of that has been leased out and put into swaps and derivatives. But I also know that they have massively more than that. Try almost 100 times more than the 8,000 tons, which would be millions of tons. I do believe the United States has millions of tons of gold. And yes, Jeffrey Christian will tell you there's only 200,000 tons that's ever been mined. When this comes out, it's going to change that gold-silver ratio in a blink of an eye, shockingly. Truthfully, shockingly. It has to come out, too, if we're going to go on to a gold and silver standard. You can't go on to any kind of gold and silver standard without knowing the total availability of gold in the world. And nobody's there admitting it right now. Although the USGS has been traveling the world, that's the U.S. Geological Society, to document exactly how much minerals people do have in the ground. And this has been going on for decades, truthfully. Everybody's prepared for this transition. Hopefully it'll be smooth. Clearly the cryptos added a little wrench into the potential for a smooth transition. Because now you have CBDC, the central bank digital currency potential, and a Bitcoin potential. And before it was only gold and silver, that's all we had. Would have made it a lot easier. But now there are other options. And I think the people should get to do what they want with those options. I don't think government should be involved in money at all, or at least to the extent that they're running around telling people what they can and cannot do. Government is the worst form of supervisory role in anything. We need to get government out of markets completely. And just curtail what they can do, because they are horrific humans, if you can call them that these days. As we can see, just open the paper and you can check that out. Anyway, very interesting. Russia also is proposing a new BRICS gold standard. I don't think anything will happen to that, because it takes deciders. They want to create their own LBMA where just their countries get to set the price and get to trade between each other. That's fine. But if you're going to set the price, there's no difference. There is no difference from the current situation where it's just different person setting the price. And if you set the price higher, everybody's going to go to the other one to take the metal, and you're going to see not much action in your area. If you set the price lower, everybody's going to just take all the gold. And remember, the people who control these markets, the Exchange Stabilization Fund and the Fed, they print money out of thin air. They can buy up every ounce of gold in a blink of an eye, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and you can't find any gold and silver anywhere for any price. And that's where we will head. That's where we're heading one day. That's why I'm so adamant about getting your precious metals in your own possession, as well as your crypto, the good cryptos. Again, I am a gigantic fan of Theta. I just, the more you dive into that, I think they're going to have an announcement soon. They've gone over a month without an announcement, which is rare. But they have so much going on. They are creating a platform for sub-blockchains so that every company in the world can create their own blockchain. Netflix can have their own blockchain running their own nodes and create their own tokens off the Theta blockchain. And that's coming in October 1st is when the testnet goes down, and then December 1st, by the end of the year, any company on the planet can create their own blockchain and have the security of the Theta blockchain backing it up. It's amazing stuff these guys are doing, like shocking. And can't see it in price yet, but you will. Just wait till every single tech investor says, "Oh my God, this is a tech company; it's not a cryptocurrency company." Anyway, in other news, China's power crisis worsens as more factories suspend operations. The battle continues to rage. The next part of this battle, first it was Trump the bad guy, then Putin the bad guy. Now it's Xi is going to be the bad guy. China's going to shut off all its goods to the rest of the world. The reversal of globalization would destroy the banking system. And all these factories in Hong Kong or in Taiwan, we just hope they stay in business. Otherwise, they'll be, we'll be moved back 10, 15 years as far as high-end componentry for high-end technological devices. All these, the highest-end chips are made right in Taiwan. And both China needs them and the U.S. needs them. So I don't think they're going to be bombing these facilities, but you never know the craziness of war. And most of the facilities are right on the China side of the island. So if there's an invasion, they're going to have to go right through these facilities. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. But again, this is all part of the play, and we're living through it. All right. I will be talking to Jenny Moonstone about the Road to Ruta stuff. We'll be going through this book today. Jenny's been getting a lot of downloads on why, things I want to talk to her about is why did Ruta write 9/11 in the sand? This is the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston writing 11 plus 9 in the sand. Right there. It's right there. And all the other ramifications and implications of the Road to Ruta documents laying out all the things that people are talking about now. What's the new monetary system going to be? Will it be Nesra? Will it be Jesra? Will it be the Iraqi dinar? Will it be the freedom funds? Will it be the quantum financial system? No, it will be none of that. Nobody can decide what goes on monetarily after this. All you can do is go back to what our founding documents say. Gold and silver are money and will be used as money, and that's why in the documents it shows a little girl walking up to a bank with a stack of 19 gold coins, either getting the coins in exchange for dollars or vice versa. That's what we're headed towards. And I think it'll be run out of the post offices, believe it or not. They're set up for it already. The banks won't be around. So get your money out of the bank, get your assets in your own possession, and ride the wave. This is Bix Weir. Hey, if you want to subscribe to the Road to Ruta, we are currently giving away the really very cool Ruta coin, the Ruta Lives coin, hand-painted. Check out how it's made. It's a really cool coin, and that's for a 1-year subscription or renewal. This is Bix Weir.